It was an interesting preseason in that we have 11 new players on a 27-man roster. So, in essence, half of our team almost is new. The other interesting thing is we played 4 halves of soccer, and I thought we played one good half. I thought the IPFW performance was a really disappointing outing, and I thought against Indiana we were nervous and probably over-respective of them in the first half. And then the second half we were very strong on both sides of the ball and were dangerous and really, took it to them in certain instances of the game. This is a work in progress, this team. I think this team has a high learning curve. I think this team, by game 6, will be pretty good. I think the first 4 or 5 games we're going to have to grind out and learn on the run. And the biggest thing with the preseason is we won and learned lessons, which as a coach, you usually have to fail or lose to get your point across or have people buy into what you're saying. And I think overall we've been able to get 2 shutouts and 2 results. And obviously, any time you can beat a program of Indiana's caliber is, means something. But we have not played as well as we can. We have not peaked, yet we've gotten results, and there's plenty of learning to do. I think it was a funny year. What people don't realize is that the final regular season game, had we beaten Butler, we were the Big East regular season champions. And that was with a team that went through a lot of injuries and a lot of adversity, a team that started 0-2 in the Big East. So our first 2 games in the conference, we did not score a goal, we did not win a game. Then to go on a 6-game unbeaten streak, have 6 wins in a row in a new league with the team we did, I thought it might have been the best coaching job our staff has done since we've been here. So the league is it's a grind. It's murderer's row. We're predicted to come in 7th, which some of the guys are upset about, but certainly we won't stand for that, and we think we can do better. But I reminded the guys that St. John's came in 7th of the league last year, did not make the Big East playoffs, but got an at-large berths in the NCAA tournament and won an NCAA tournament game. So that's the depth of the conference. It's a very good conference, and I think overall to be in the top 25, which we were, have our 4th straight 10-win season, which we did. We had a top 10 MLS draft pick, the second top 25 pick we've had in the last 2 years, and then to be amongst the top 3 programs nationally in Division One. From a team GPA academic standpoint, it was a solid year, disappointing year with the bottom line being the NCAAs, but obviously a year that a lot of people would take and a year that we're still pretty proud of in many regards. This class is interesting. One thing in my job, what you do is every week you make a 2015, 16, and 17 lineup, and you have to project and forecast. And as we go on here, I've certainly learned that we have a lot of depth in this class, which we thought we did initially. I think you'll see 3 guys starting Friday, day 1, step right on the treadmill, as I say, and go. And I think we're going to probably use 5 to 6 freshmen, throughout the year. And I think there's 1 or 2 that by mid-year, towards the end of the year, are going to be knocking on the door for playing time. I think the first thing that comes to mind with the departed seniors was, they came on board with me in 2010. They won back-to-back championships in 10 and 11, advanced in the NCAA tournament in 12, top 10 national ranking, so on and so forth. But most importantly, what people don't see is the culture that they developed in kind of the standard of excellence in defining what a Xavier player is. And I think even though those guys have graduated, the 6 of them, I think their legacy is here, and they certainly have a hand in this year's team because I think how we do things and who we've brought in really is a reflection of those guys. So, defensively, Nick always had the Superman cape on. Nick could chase down anybody, could put out any fire and save the day. I think we don't have that capability, and because of it, I think we'll rely more on our system and our organization and the details defensively. It might actually be better defensively because we don't have Nick, because I think we cheated a little bit sometimes and relied on his save-the-day capabilities. I think Kyle Martin's done a good job filling in for Tanner Petrick in the back of the midfield, and I think attack-wise, Gino and Matt Walker not easily replaced. I do think we have a couple guys who can score, in the neighborhood of 5 goals, score by committee, and I do think our attack will be a work in progress. Early on in the year, and I told people this 3 weeks ago, and it's held true, I think we're going to be a 1-0 team, a 1-goal team, and have to rely on our defense as our offense. And then hopefully by game 5 or 6, we're starting to get our timing down offensively, and we're able to be a good team defensively and offensively, which is what we've been able to do here, and which is the mark of a good team. But Andy Kaplan, Jack McDermott, I mentioned some of the other seniors, great ambassadors for the university, great role models, Xavier players, great culture establishers, and guys who, even though they're gone, I think a lot of guys have aspired to be like them and waited their turn, and we talk about them regularly, and I think they certainly are still felt every day here. I always say that I get excited for the first day of preseason, but I'm not sure if I'm excited for the first game of the season. Obviously, I'm excited, but it's more of a nerve thing. And I think, you always wonder as a coach, can your team manage itself yet? What's the rhythm of your team going to be like? What's the pulse and personality of your team going to be like? We don't know that yet. Usually that takes a couple games to get going. But I do have enough trust in the preparation we've had and the returning guys to think that we'll be ready at 7 o'clock on Friday. Lipscomb returns everyone. They had a pretty good season last year where I believe they won 10 games and made it to the semifinals of their conference tournament, and that was a big springboard for them. And I know they do have two special freshmen they brought in and a nucleus that returns and a high belief, and I think every team in the country right now, I always tell our guys their belief tank is full, and certainly that's the case with Lipscomb, and it's going to be a difficult game in that we're not where we want to be yet, and we got to hope where we're at is enough to get through it. And then obviously Sunday we play a top team from a top conference, Wisconsin, very well coached team, made the second round last year. Tremendous recruiting class coming in, I believe a top 10 recruiting class, and I think they own the nation's longest home winning streak. So that's a challenge in itself, but we used to play Friday, Sunday in the Atlantic 10. And one thing I learned is you try to worry about Friday first, and you try to concentrate on winning or tying halves. And we're focusing on today and tomorrow, and then getting ready for the first half of Lipscomb because we can't really go win the game. We can try to win the first half. So it's going to be interesting early on. Like I said, we're a work in progress, but I do like this team. I do like the personality of this team. And people have to remember there are seniors who won a conference championship, who have played in 2 NCAA tournaments, who have been ranked top 10 in the country, who were on the cusp of winning a Big East regular season championship last year, and some newcomers with high expectations and a solid culture and a program I think that has been there and expects to be there. So I don't think any of the demands or expectations or goals we have are new, and I think they're realistic, and I think we're going to be slow in our approach and deliberate in our approach, but our goal is to be ready when we need to be ready, and that's come probably October 1st, end of September.